Welcome to Growth Formula. Success is not a coincidence. Success is a formula. Join our transformation journey and subscribe now.
Success is not a coincidence. Success is a formula. Last time, we faced the brutal reality of our 4,000 weeks and learned that we cannot do everything. But today, we take it a step further. Today, we realize that most of what we are doing is actually worthless. We are busy, but we are not productive. We are moving in a million directions, but we are not going anywhere. Welcome to Growth Formula. Today, we are reclaiming our lives and our focus with Greg McKeown's game-changing masterpiece, Essentialism. Have you ever felt stretched too thin? Have you ever felt overworked but underutilized? Have you ever found yourself constantly busy but never actually getting anything meaningful done? If so, you are living the life of a non-essentialist. You are a victim of what Greg McKeown calls the undisciplined pursuit of more. We live in a hyper-connected world that celebrates busyness as if it were a badge of honor or a sign of status. We are told by society, by our bosses, and by our social media feeds that we can have it all, do it all, and be it all. But this is a lie. It is a toxic myth that leads directly to burnout, mediocrity, and a life of deep regret. The essentialist does not try to do more. The essentialist tries to do the right things. It is not about doing less just for the sake of doing less. It is about the disciplined pursuit of less, but better. It is about making the highest possible contribution by eliminating everything that is not absolutely vital. Think of your energy as a single point of light. If you spread that light in every direction at once, it is weak, flickering, and barely illuminates the room. But if you focus that same amount of light into a single concentrated laser beam, it can cut through steel. That is the power of essentialism. That is the power of the focus we preach here at Growth Formula. Greg McKeown explains a fundamental truth. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Your boss, your family, your neighbors, your social media notifications, they all have an agenda for your time. They all want a piece of you. And if you don't have a clear, firm yes for your own mission, you will eventually become a yes man to everyone else's no. We have lost the ability to filter. We think everything is important. Every email, every meeting, every social invitation feels like a must. But the reality is that very few things are truly vital, while almost everything else is just noise. This is the Pareto Principle on steroids. We know that 80% of results come from 20% of activities. But the essentialist goes deeper. They look for the 1% of activities that give them 99% of their impact. The first phase of the growth formula for essentialism is to explore. You might think an essentialist says no immediately. That is a misunderstanding. The essentialist actually explores more options than the average person. They cast a wider net, but they only commit to the very best 1%. They listen carefully for what is truly important. They create space, literal, physical, and mental space to think. In our modern high-speed world, thinking is often seen as a waste of time or a luxury for the lazy. But for the essentialist, thinking is the most productive thing you can do. You need space to discern the vital few from the trivial many. If you are too busy to think, you are too busy to be successful. You are just a hamster on a wheel, running fast but staying in the same place. Next comes the most difficult phase, eliminate. This is where most people fail because they lack the courage. This is what we call the battle of the no. We are biologically wired to want to belong, which makes us terrified of saying no. We are afraid of social awkwardness. We are afraid of missing out, FOMO. We are afraid of disappointing people. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to a non-essential task, you are inherently saying no to your own greatness. You are trading your soul, your time, and your limited 4,000 weeks for a temporary social favor. The essentialist understands that a clear, graceful, and firm no is a tool of leadership and self-respect. It's not about being rude or arrogant, it's about being intensely focused. If it's not a clear yes, then it is a clear no. There is no middle ground. There is no maybe or I'll try. If you are feeling even 10% hesitation about a commitment, the answer is already no. By eliminating the non-essentials, you are not just clearing your schedule, you are clearing your mind. You are removing the mental clutter that prevents you from doing deep, meaningful work.
Then we move to execute. The essentialist doesn't just cut things out and hope for the best. They create a system to make the execution of the vital things almost effortless. They remove the friction from the process. Instead of forcing their way through a mountain of work with sheer willpower, which is a finite resource, they remove the obstacles that stand in the way of their primary goal. They understand that done is better than perfect, but they also know that perfectly focused is better than done. They build buffers into their lives. They expect the unexpected. While the non-essentialist is constantly in crisis mode, reacting to every fire that pops up, the essentialist is in flow mode. They have anticipated the problems and built a system to handle them. Let's use the closet metaphor. Think about your bedroom closet. If you never clean it, it eventually gets filled with clothes you never wear. You spend 10 minutes every single morning frustrated looking for something to put on because you're surrounded by junk that doesn't fit or you don't even like. Life is exactly the same. Your schedule is that closet. Most of the meetings you attend, most of the emails you answer, and most of the social events you force yourself to go to are the ugly sweaters of your life. They take up space, they drain your energy, they make you feel heavy, and most importantly, they prevent you from wearing the tuxedo, the one or two massive opportunities that would actually change the trajectory of your life. Essentialism is the act of ruthlessly cleaning that closet every single day. Essentialism is a radical act of rebellion against the more is better culture that is killing our productivity and our happiness. It is a return to sanity. It is the realization that quality will always beat quantity. In the growth formula, we don't care about how many boxes you checked on your to-do list today. We care about which box you checked. Did that one box move the needle? Did it bring you closer to your ultimate mission? Or was it just another distraction disguised as a priority? The history of the word priority tells us everything we need to know. The word came into the English language in the 1400s. It was singular. It meant the very first or prior thing. For 500 years, it stayed singular. It was impossible to have priorities. It was only in the 1900s, during the industrial and corporate boom, that we pluralized the term and started talking about priorities. We thought that by simply changing the word, we could magically change reality. We thought we could have multiple first things at the same time. But we can't. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. When you try to make 5 things your number one goal, you have no goals. You just have a mess. To live as an essentialist, you must embrace the power of the pause. In our world, the person who replies the fastest is often seen as the most productive, but the essentialist knows better. Before you commit to a new project, pause. Before you reply to that urgent email, pause. Before you agree to go to that coffee meeting, pause. Ask yourself, is this the very most important thing I should be doing with my limited time and resources right now? If the answer is not a resounding, shouting 100% yes, then you must have the courage to walk away. Your 4,000 weeks are ticking. The sand in the hourglass is falling. You don't have time for okay opportunities. You don't even have time for good opportunities. You only have time for the great ones. This is the path of the essentialist. It is a difficult path because it is a path of discipline. It is a path of courage. It requires the internal strength to stand alone when everyone else is running in circles, trying to do everything and accomplishing nothing. It requires the honesty to admit to yourself and to others that you cannot be everything to everyone. You are a finite human being with finite energy. But the reward for this discipline is a life of deep meaning, a life of massive impact, and a life of true freedom. You are no longer a leaf blown around by the wind of other people's expectations. You are the wind itself. You are the architect of your own destiny. Success, in the end, is not about how much you can do. It is about how much you can ignore. It is about the things you are brave enough to leave on the cutting room floor. In the growth formula, we prune the branches so the tree can grow tall and strong. We cut the fat so the muscle can show. We silence the noise so the music can finally be heard. We don't want more, we want better. We don't want a busy life, we want a vital life. If you are ready to stop the undisciplined pursuit of more and start the disciplined pursuit of less, but better, then you have finally found the formula. You have found the secret that the most successful people in history, from Steve Jobs to Marcus Aurelius, used to change the world. They didn't do everything. They did the one thing that mattered, and they did it better than anyone else. If you found this breakdown valuable, don't let the noise drown out the signal. Hit the subscribe button to join our community and unlock the secrets of the world's greatest books. Every week, we bring you a new formula for success. What is the one thing you are going to say no to today to make room for your great yes? Let us know in the comments below. Let's grow together.